Hello, everybody. Everybody wants to rule the world, right? I wouldn't take the job. You couldn't pay me to do it. So, hello, everybody. So good to see you. Favor be with all of us. Bosto, and happy birthday and happy holidays, whatever and however you choose to party it. So good to see you. Thank you, all the moderators in the house. And hey, Tina Bob, how you doing, girl? I haven't seen you in a while. Mad Cow, how are you doing from Tennessee? Hey, Kaz, what's happening? Posey and Nina the Mystic, good to see you. And Ellen and Gilbert Smith, good to see you. Hello, Susie Q. How are you, my dear? Good to see you as well. So, how has it been? Y'all have a good holiday, however you. Ours was good. It's quiet, uneventful. Spent the time, as we always do, to, learn a little bit more. Hey, Danny, what's up? Good to see you. David Casso, hello. And May, good to see you as well. Lots of folks here. So good to see everyone. Much love to everybody. And hey, Trina. Trina and I are going to be on tomorrow. Yes, we are. And if I thought that I found a book, and it's one that really is going to get deep. But Trina, I thought what we would talk about would be, do we really have free will, or is it free choice? Key difference in the two. Yeah, I know. So like, well, if I got free will, then that means I have free choice. Maybe, maybe not. So I think it'll be a good topic to let our heads get in. Hey, Sarah Horton, what's happening? Good to see you. So got lots to cover. Hey, Dakota, how are you as well? Thank you for tuning in. Hit the like button, folks. Apparently the AI algorithm loves it. Hey, Pamela, good to see you. Hello, Jenny. Good to see you, my dear. How's everything over there in the UK? Lockdown? Can we say lockdown? Folks, I'm going to get right into it because, hey, Regina, good to see you. Gaia, hello. Folks, the level of this deception and to the degree by which we're all, I don't know if I want to say victims. I don't know. Hey, Deborah, how you doing? Bonnie, I don't know. Victim, I don't know. Maybe we're just ignorant. I'm having a t-shirt done where I'm going to copyright this phrase. Ignorance is a self-inflicted disease that is easily cured with knowledge. And all I got to say is that we're all ignorant. My wife and I were talking at length on this. And, we're at that time in our life where we saw the schools that were in the transition. This is never taught. The flag that you see behind me on the blue screen, the backdrop, that is the true American flag. That is the flag of the United States of America. That is the true flag. And folks, what's happened here, well, if this doesn't piss you off, then I don't know. To each his own. That's what I say. So let me get right to it. Put together a PowerPoint presentation to start this off, because this is going to be an hour, folks. You are going to want to download the recording, save it, show it to your kids, and let them see exactly how deep this deception really goes, folks. We are truly living out the fable, the emperor new clothes, because we're all bare ass naked here. But we want to think about, we got the best duds and dudes on, we got the best fashion, and, we're dressed to the nines. Truth be known, we're living in rags. So this is the real flag of the United States of America, a republic. We are not a democracy. Never have been, never will be. Democracies don't work. They all fail miserably. All one has to do is be a simple purveyor of history and go back and look at Greece, which was a democracy, Rome, which was a democracy, and a republic. It started out as a republic, and that's when it was the strongest. It's when it yielded to the death throes of democracy that what was once Rome fell. Also, this is the real flag of the United States of America, not the corporation of the United States of America. Now, we're about to get into some hardcore reality, because what you're going to realize is that we see nothing that is real. Everything you and I see is a manipulated illusion. And if you don't buy the illusion, death will be the result of that. So here's the thing, folks. The question is, are Americans flying the wrong flag? Which one should be flown at all sporting events, all graduations, all church services, everything? 4th of July. You see, what the reality is, folks, is that you and I, if you live in America, we live in a nation that is at war. The United States has been perpetually at war since about 1886. Do you know the Civil War has never actually ended? The United States, yes, the South succeeded. They also gave up. And the United States Congress merely gave a cessation to hostilities. There was never a declaration of an ending of a war. So this flag, which we call the United States civil flag banner, is what actually flew in virtually every state capital, every federal building, every place up until World War II. Now, if you fly the U.S. military banner, this has serious legal ramifications, because we're going to find out you and I are not free. We're bond servants. We're not citizens either, not in the sense of what we've been led to. So if you put this on your porch, on your yard, on anything, this is what it says when you put it on the front of your house, that you are signifying your home is a military installation, and you are foregoing any claim of common law, commerce, and you are saying your house can be occupied. And in fact, the United States military can empty your house of all your possessions and not compensate you a penny. You gave them permission. And once you gave them permission, they don't need your permission anymore. Think about it. Ladies and gentlemen, this is probably one of the biggest in-your-face deceptions. Everyone here is guilty. There is no innocent one here, because I got to tell you, I'm guilty of ignorance, that I've allowed a government that is not the government of the people. Until Congress declares officially that the United States of America is not at war, you and I are merely subjects. And it gets really serious, because we are under the strictest kind of military rule. We are under the Maritime, Admiralty, Wartime Act rule. Think about this. Where have you seen the civil peace flag flying? I always think about these, what is it? The good old boys are some kind of nonsense. I guess they're supposed to be the opposite of BLM, I guess. But here's the thing. They're both fools. They carry a flag that acknowledges that they are not citizens, they are military subjects. OMD. The lies or the truth? Which one is it, my friend? The civil flag, intended for peacetime usage in custom house civilian settings, and had vertical stripes with blue stars on a white field. By the law of the flag, we're going to cover this. This design denotes civil jurisdiction under the Constitution and common law, as opposed to military jurisdiction under the admiralty military law. Oh, folks, the whole election is a fraud. Every person in Congress should be immediately booted out. The government should, in fact, collapse because we are not the government of the people. This is the biggest theft ever perpetrated upon a human being. Gets worse, too. This should be the official, and it is. This is the official flag of the United States of America. Not that cursed thing that's flown and shown everywhere. It's a cursed flag, folks. When you declare to the world and to the heavens that you are a nation of war, not peace, guess what you get? Doubt me? This is what should be in the White House. This should what be every time the President of the United States steps on a podium or anywhere he goes. But no, because he is not the President of the United States. He or she is, in fact, are you ready for this? They've been granted the privilege of representing the people, but the person themselves are under military law. No need for that gilded. Hey, this is the Mariner Code. Merchant Marines, ensigns that are graduated. E Purius Fluum. Why don't we see this on our money? Folks, do you see what's happened here? And they're fine for us being in our metaphysical or your religion or even in your political or your social debate. Ba, 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 ba. This is what they want. Ba, 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 ba. Because when you're going ba, 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 you're bowing down. You're not a free agent. You're a slave. You are facing the reality in the United States, we are under military occupation. Habeas corpus is an illusion. It gets more serious. This is the only flag that should be flown in the United States. Anything else is a declaration, folks. America has a flag for peacetime, but hasn't flown this flag since the Civil War, as that war is still going on. Peace was never, has never, folks, never been declared, nor have hostilities against the people ended of the South. The government is still operating under the quasi-military rule. And if it has one iota, one letter of military law in the civil law, it's polluted. You see, they don't need a draft. They can come in and take whatever they want. Fact check me. Show me the document. Show me what Lincoln signed. We're still a nation at war. Look at it. Remember it. May the true American flag fly again. May it be hoisted above the United States Capitol, every federal building, the Supreme Court, the White House. And may we tear down the flag that we should only use in the case of an actual war. And when that war is ended, put it away where it belongs. May our children only see peace. May they understand that it is not the red, white, and blue as they have been taught. It is simply the red and white with the blue field. Excuse me, the white field, signifying peace. I mean, it gets worse, folks. It absolutely gets worse. So I want to pull up a website for you. And I'm going to put it in the description. Give me 1 second here. That's not what he was wanting. It's like, I didn't want that. This is what I was wanting. Okay. Let's get smart. Let's get educated. Let's find out what it is that we really need to know. This is a wonderful blog. It's a law blog by John Henry Hill, medical doctor. What he has done here, Dr. Hill, is, well, outstanding. So let's all learn some things here. The American flag, there in fact are 3 flags of the United States of America, and for most other nationals. I didn't know that. According to the still current international maritime law, the section called Law of the Flag. We're going to learn about this, folks, because this is what you and I in the United States are under. Now, the United States of America has a civil flag of peace. This is the real official flag of the United States of America. The Old Glory Stars and Stripes flag, with which most people are familiar, is the official military flag of peacetime, whose horizontal stripes easily distinguish it from the civil flag. The military flag of peacetime is the one that flew over Fort McHenry during the bombardment of the British Navy at the start of the War of 1812, in which Francis Scott Key immortalized his poem, which would refer to our national anthem. Okay, you following? The only reason Fort McHenry was flying Old Glory instead of the civil flag of peacetime was that Fort McHenry was obviously a military installation. And since war had not yet formally been declared, it was obligated to fly the U.S. flag of peacetime. Had war already officially been declared by Congress, the fort would have flown the United States military flag of war, which has gold fringe added on 3 sides. You want to know why you're screwed every time you walk into a court? If you see that American Stars and Stripes, the horizontal flag with the guild on it, oh, you don't have any rights. There is no constitution. We'll learn. It was only after World War II that the American people forgot about the real U.S. civil flag of peacetime that used to fly over non-military federal buildings during peacetime. Today, people fly the U.S. military flag of peacetime, Old Glory, or the Stars and Stripes, without realizing that they are flying the wrong flag. They should be flying the flag of the civil peacetime. Go into any courtroom in the United States and see which flag is on display. It must, in most cases, it will be the U.S. military flag of war with the gold fringe, which means that the court is informing you that you are entering a military court, also called a maritime admiralty court, in which the United States Constitution is suspended, and the judge can deny you a trial by jury at his discretion. And just as the captain of a ship at sea, he can issue summary judgments by himself. No conviction by a jury required. Prior to World War II, most Americans were aware of these facts. Non-federal buildings within a state never flew a U.S. flag, ever. They flew only their state's flag. Thus, in paintings and photos prior to 1940, flags in all non-federal buildings were solely state flags, and a state building never flew a U.S. flag of any type. The only place most people ever saw an official U.S. flag was at the post office in their towns. And since post offices are civil, not military buildings, the flag flown was always the official U.S. flag of peacetime. Every American child used to learn these facts in grammar school. Until the mid-1940s, Americans today are not stupid. They are simply ignorant because they were never taught these facts. Oddly enough, many people think that the law of the flags is an out-of-date relic of the past. Not true. Indeed, every ship at sea is required to be registered with a particular country, and it must fly the flag of that country. That is international maritime law, also known as commercial law. On this very day, your flag informs others who you are and if your nation is currently at war. Other people dismiss the law of flags as not applicable within the U.S., often citing statutes conferring upon the president as commander-in-chief the power to add the gold fringe, the gold tassels, etc., to the flag at his discretion. This is true, but such statutes apply only with federal zones. Under the exclusive jurisdiction of Congress, such statutes do not void international maritime law. So, the next time you appear in a court to contest a speeding ticket and demand a trial by jury of 12 persons as guaranteed by the Sixth Amendment, do not be surprised if the judge states that you are not entitled to a trial by jury, or even states that the Bill of Rights does not apply in that court. After all, you were warned by the flag displayed in the courtroom that you would be entering a maritime admiralty jurisdiction. That you chose to ignore this warning or were ignorant of the flag's significance is no excuse under the law. He gives all his references here, and it's, folks, when you understand what is happening here, yeah, it's scary. Now, I don't know what it's like in other countries, but I have an idea. So I want to share with you in the remaining time that we got a delightful book. This is I only have it on Kindle, but folks, it is fabulous. All right, so let's go. Let me get me out of the frame here. Thank you. And let us start. Let me get that up there. All right. This is, you know, something is wrong when an American affidavit, and I can't see the top of that, so you'll just have to, on probable cause. There we go. All right. So the history you do not know or think about. First of all, you have to understand, let's get to the very first building block. So we are all under the trust. Trust are created when one party, the donor, places assets in the care of another party, the trustee, for the benefit of a third party, the beneficiary. So in our case, we are under what they call, and it's true how this influences law. Genesis 1:26 through 28. So God is the donor here. God's ambiguous because, well, quite frankly, I guess that's why they made it ambiguous. But in this case, they're referencing, the Genesis story. So he gave the earth, which is the asset, to Adam, which is the trustee, for us, for all future generations. So we are, in fact, the beneficiary to all of this. Got it? Okay. We take our turns. So as children, we are beneficiaries. As adults, we are trustees. As elders, we are donors. The 1302 brainstorm. All right, so this is from the Vatican. Let's see. God gave the earth to Adam. Adam gave it to his kids, and it all came down to Jesus, who gave it to Peter in his absence, who passed it on the responsibility to who? Me, the Pope. The Pope is the global trustee, like it or not. So now we have something that the Holy See really is over legally. So the global estate trust is born. The Unum Sectum 1302 creates the world's first and largest expressed trust. This is Boniface VIII. And these early popes, they were weird. Talk about sexual hang-ups. Anyway, this is not what we're talking about. The Romanus Pontifex 1455, the first testamentary trust. Now, this was published by Nicholas V. These are all popes. The Aeterni Regis 1481, the second testamentary trust. This was published by Sextus IV. Finally, we had the Convocation 1537, which is called the Third Testamentary Trust. This was published by Pope Paul III. You getting this? Now, remember, these dudes are simply saying, I don't give a damn what you think. I don't give a damn what you believe. The thing about it is, you are their, how shall I say this? We are their bitch. And it's been that way. And we live under this illusion that, I ain't nobody's bitch. Yeah. All right, so the trust includes what we call the heir jurisdiction. Now, this is defined as living and dead souls, spirits, angels, demons, ideas, global in nature. They're all controlled by the Pope and his appointees. Folks, this is what international law is based on. So now we have what we call the sea jurisdiction. This is defined as all vessels, mariners, sailors, merchants, creatures of the sea. See, international in nature. Now, these have been granted and are controlled by the British monarchs. Finally, we have the land jurisdiction. All resources of the land, including people, animals, plants, and minerals, are national in nature and are controlled by the Spanish king, if there is one. Now, you go back and you look at the United States history, we made land purchases from Spain. We won land because we were at war, still are. So now this is what they call the law forms. Each jurisdiction has its own law forms. The jurisdiction of the air has only 3 real laws. Are you ready for this? This gets weird. 1, keep the peace. All right, that's kind of cool. Not hard. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Okay, common sense. 3, so long as it does not take away another's freedom, life, property, or do others such harm, do what you like and let others enjoy their free will too. Now, wait a minute, folks. Where have we seen almost verbatim these words? Well, let's see. If it wasn't in the Santonic Bible, oh, yes, it was. Where else did we see this? Was it in the Forbidden Religion? Yeah, saw that too. The pagan belief system. In fact, these are pagan rules. They're not religious, not political, not national. These are truly pagan rules. Yeah, not so difficult. Now, there is also the law of the land and the law of the sea. In this case, the national law of the land, Americans fly the civil flag with vertical stripes. And you can see that this comes down in what they call common sense. You got public law, common law, Geneva Conventions, Constitution, Mosaic law. Mosaic law? Okay. So now let's see, when we're not at war, we should be flying the civil flag. Now, the law of the sea is where U.S. citizens fly the war flag with horizontal stripes. I bet you never realize that, if you've ever gone sailing out there and you're looking at this flag and you're going, well, that's old glory. You don't realize that you're on a warship. Oh, wait a minute. Isn't that awfully close to warship? Well, we go to church to worship. Excuse me, did you say warship? Yeah, I said warship. Confused? Now, then you've got what this thing is called international law of the sea. Now, this gets weird because this seems to congeal everything. You got states, commerce, private law, attorneys. I mean, it's shark infested. Now, remember, we're talking about us citizens, right? All right. Now, the trust operates by providing services. Oh, folks, this is going to get so weird. This is where some of the lawsuits are coming against some of these cities that let the cities have riots and burn. They violated an international law that's actually incorporated into maritime law, which is allowed into civil law of the land. So the trust, in order for it to exist and have its benefits, must provide services. So what does it provide? Well, the first thing the trust does, now we're talking about the United States as a corporation. But anyway, I digress. So the first thing the trust is provide postal services via postal districts and post offices. In every new acquisition that the United States made in forming the United States, it's the first thing that they did. Why? because it establishes a foothold, a beachhold. 2, legal services and standards via the bar associations. The bar is a very interesting term. If you've ever been in court, you know that unless you are with an attorney, an officer of the court, you cannot cross the bar. And if you study law, you begin to understand that courtroom is, in many cases, a temple. Very strict and rigorous rituals take place there. And you violate those rituals, and your ass can end up in a place you don't want to be. The other thing that a trust must offer is banking services and standards via banking associations. 4, provide domestic police services. Now, you see, this is where the ignorance comes in defunding the police and all this nonsense. If these people had an ounce of knowledge, they would realize that every citizen in these cities can sue their city councils. They can sue the mayor. They can actually sue the governor because they violated the trustee oath. This is law, folks, international law that applies here in the United States. Why? Because they fly the gilded flag. Number 5, they have to provide medical and welfare services. Get this, number 6 is insurance services. Why is that there? Folks, Lloyd's of London. I can think of Kathleen Turner. Lloyd's of London at one time insured the studios insured her legs for $1 million. But insurance services. And finally, and this is the key, they must provide defense and treaty alliance services. Now, to most Americans, this will go, why? Because it takes away from their streaming or their the games. Their minds are just mush. They don't give a damn about this. The day will come where they will rue the day they thought that. So there you go. All right. Following? Now, all this and more was being accomplished by the Global Estate Trust more than 200 years before the American Revolution. You ever asked yourself why the nations of Mesoamerica have not been suing Spain and or the Vatican to get their gold back? Yeah. Folks, all right. So you have Rome, the Vatican. Rome is the headquarters, right? The trust is the largest corporate conglomerate and interlocking trust decorate on the earth with 4 administrative hubs operated as independent international city-states. Thus, this trust operates out of the Vatican, Westminster, Washington, D.C., and the United Nations. The inner city of London, also known as Westminster, operates legal and banking services. This is a fact, folks. This is reality. In my career, I've dealt with certain corporations that were within the limit of the Westminster area. Anyway, I continue. The Washington, D.C. municipality operates defense services. That's why Washington, D.C. will never be a state. It can't be. Because it would null and void the trust. But the civil flag, you see how it's flown? Yeah. The United Nations provides trade treaty negotiation services for members. These independent city-states together create the empire of the city. But it is really the empire of the Global Estate Trust, We are all part of it, like it or not, for the past 700 years. The Global Estate Trust comes to America in 1492 to 1776. Private investment for public advancement. The king, the crown, and investors. This is very key, folks, because this is a history that's not taught anymore. So the dance of public and private begins. During these years, large commercial investment companies formed underneath the royal privilege, corporations, throughout England, and for the purpose of developing the land and resources of the North American continent. So eager were English investors for new opportunities that the crown, not the monarch's investment company, had to establish investment districts throughout England and assign colonial territories for investors from each district. Excuse me, it jumped on me there. Throughout England and assign colonial territories for investors from which each district in England to fund. So they were setting up limited partnerships, royalty, trust. We still have them today. Thus, we had the Virginia Company and the New England Company and various other investment companies drawing in private investment money from the designated locales in England to back colonization in the New World. Most early investors were buoyed by the hope that gold would be found in North America, similar to the discoveries made by the Spanish in South America. French investment companies under the French monarchy also staked out claims and formed trading companies. Aside from hopes of finding gold, these commodity trading companies focused on development of natural resources, fish, timber, mining, and agriculture to begin with. The colonists came as members of the military. All this crap of landing on Plymouth Rock and all the thing with the pilgrims, they were slaves. They were never free people to begin with. They were subjects to military law. Or as wealthy adventurers, and most commonly as bond servants, indentured to serve their commercial sponsors for a period of years in return for their transportation, tools, food, and other goals needed to settle the land. Each trading company depended on a charter from their monarch, and each monarch depended on land claims made in their behalf by the commercial companies and military missions. I mean, some of you may think this is boring, but you're a fool if you let this go by. For the better part of 2 centuries, England, France, and Spain fought over the claimed chunks of North and South America, but the basic premise of public military power extended in support of private commercial interests remained the same. This same arrangement continues unabated to the present day. The government uses the military to support and promote commercial expansion, and the commercial expansion pays for the government and the military. You see how it works? It's never ends. Around and around it goes. And that's a fact. So you see the problem? The triumph of government, military, commercial interest is a closed and self-perpetuating system. The commercial interest pays the government pays the military works to protect the government and the commercial interest. The people who consume the goods that the commercial interests produce and who also provide the labor necessary to harvest, clean, process, transport, and manufacture goods are not really part of the loop. We and the natural resources of our planet are the actual source of all the moolah the commercial interests have, and which they use to pay the government and the military. But our power to control or even have input into the system is extremely limited. Once every 2, 4, or 6 years, we get to choose a new government official who is supposed to champion our interests. which leaves us totally dependent on the good character and intelligence of the individuals elected. You see the problem? That's why Congress passes laws that they're exempt. In fact, if you ever served in Congress or the Senate, you're exempt from violating. You can, when you leave Congress, you're in an elite class. You see, we have a class system in America. It's funny to me to see these groups protesting about slavery when they don't realize they're slaves. We all are. So beyond that, you and I are free to gripe, bitch, complain, and moan, and those elected are free to ignore us. And guess which route they take? You can't talk to your congressman, you can't talk to your senator. Once they're elected, they are no longer of the common class. A man is no less a slave because he is allowed to choose a new master once in a term of years. See, we get all wrapped around the axle thinking, oh, the president this, the president that. It doesn't matter. They're puppets. That's all they are. You and I have no voice. We are military subjects. So the horns of our dilemma. With less than 30% of the people voting in the general election, there is no consensus supporting the current political regime in Washington, D.C. Even among those who do continue to participate in the electoral process, there is no unity and a great deal of discontent. Millions of Americans simply vote with their feet. We appear to be on the horns of a dilemma, unwillingly to support what is and unable to find our way forward to reform it. We are all still dealing with problems from a long time ago that people failed to address then. Both the bulls and the chickens have come home to roost. Part 2. I'm going to go here a little bit more because folks, this is history. So the first big lie now steps back in time to the early 1600s. So you see a guy from England carrying the flag, and he says, I claim this land in the name of King James the First. Okay? So he makes his proclamation. The colonists pretend that the land was vacant and open to claim to begin with. They discounted the Indians because they weren't Christians. Folks, never get into an argument with Christians who are trying to bait you. Just look at them, smile, and say, you're free to believe whatever you want. Respect me the same way. They won't, but yeah. All right. So the second big lie was later the colonists tried to buy the land from the Indians, who told them that they didn't own the land. The land owned the people. The colonists ignored this and forced the Indians to accept gifts, quote unquote, as payments and concocted contracts of sale based on this practice. These contracts the United States issued, these covenants, worthless. Never would have stood up in a real court of law, but hey. When you think about it, the Indians had it right. This and every other nation that you can think of is founded on lies and false claims. Buying and selling and taxing land is a con game in which we buy back the right to enjoy assets that were already given to us. Going back to the whole Genesis story, God. Those in the middle, the trustees, are cheating us and enriching themselves, whether it is the Pope, the King, the Spain, or the state of Ohio. Because the Indians continued their efforts to bring this fraud to everyone's attention, they were deemed enemies of the crown. Still are. And subject to physical and cultural genocide for 400 years. Thank you, England. Men, women, and children, they died to bring you this basic truth. They were killed because they knew and spoke this truth in your behalf as well as their own. The trust again. Native Americans had their own version of the trust. In their view, it was simple and obvious. The trust is sacred and belongs equally to all people. The trust requires our gratitude. We cannot take without giving. 3, the trust requires caretaking. This generation cannot destroy what is owned to the next. What's wrong with that? No, but you give a 6,000-page legislation in which they're stealing from the public treasury and expect a normal human being to read something in less than 6 hours. It is every adult's duty to hand over the trust in the same or better condition than he received it. Anyone who wastes resources or pollutes the world is viewed like a 2-year-old with a hammer, too ignorant to know better, dangerous, and needing guidance and discipline. The Europeans conquered by force and by guile, but they lost the moral debate forever. Kill the buffalo and you kill the Indians. Commander William E. Cody. Yeah. Let's continue. Let us put our minds together and see what kind of life we can make for our children. This is what Sitting Bull said before they murdered him. The story of what happened in with Custard and the whole thing is Wounded Knee is a fabrication. They were massacred by the U.S. military, but that's what the U.S. military does, has always done. Again, folks, remember the theme of this. We fly the flag of war. Why? Why is it that everyone thinks they're, NASCAR? Now, there's a group. They got their head so far up their ass and they think, flying the flag, hey, this shows I'm a patriotic American. Or, they'll fly the Confederate flag, never realizing what it really signified. And it isn't slavery. That's bullshit. That's a modernist interpretation of a falsity that can't be perceived through the illusion. But here they are, flying the old glory, the stars and stripes, saying, yeah, we're too damn dumb here. Let me have another beer. You see, I worked at NASCAR. So, yeah, making fun of them because it typifies the ignorance. Now, if there were an enlightened group, they should be flying the civil flag of peace. But you see, you could go out and do a man on the street whole thing and they wouldn't know what the hell you were talking about. They would tell you that you're stupid. Anyway, this goes on. I'm going to end it here for the moment. There we go. Because I want a little bit of time to talk on here. So what do we do with this? The thought police. It says, well, you've had too much thinking. You're not supposed to think on your own. Because I'll guarantee you this, ladies and gentlemen, start passing this around. Start challenging your loved one, your family, your people that you work with. Buy this flag. Fly this flag over your house. It protects you. And if you ever walk into a court of law, tell your attorney, no. You need to have a declaration from the court that they are not a maritime admiralty court. You want to be in a civil court where the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, has full protective value to you. And if more Americans would stop this bullshit of bitching at one side because they think someone stole this or bitching on the other side because they don't do this, you see, stop that white noise. Why don't all those people that do in the protest, let's start talking about the flag. Let's talk about what you're protesting. If you're protesting under the stars and stripes, you're an idiot. You can literally be shot on sight. Literally. And I don't care what the laws do of police officers that have been wrongly convicted, but they've been convicted under military law, except they didn't have a defense counsel that was literate enough to understand that when a lawyer passes the bar, he should be literate enough to know what court he's representing his client in. Yeah, Karen Lynn, and I got to tell you what, the people don't understand. Let me tell you what, read, ladies and gentlemen. There's only one person that actually agrees that an election was legal. All the other acrimonious bullshit going on is just that. And that is the vice president. It's written in the Constitution. He can, or he can reject it without cause. It's exactly what states in the Constitution. But we don't know what flag to fly. So how the hell do we expect the American citizenry to understand what's really going on? Wow. I don't know about how you feel about this, but this just sucks. Al, to answer your question, yes. Yes. Within the Constitution, we can recall every public official, either voted or not voted. People don't understand their rights. The first thing we must demand, I've already left a message. I don't expect Jason Crow to ever respond to me. Him and I are on two different planes because he is a military agent. He served in the military. He went into politics as a military agent. He would never support legislation to be signed to remove the war flag and replace it, because that will require Congress to make some declarations. And when people begin to realize that Congress did not do their job 200 years ago, and it's been festering like a pustulated sore for nearly 200 years, yeah, it stinks, it's nasty, and it's going to hurt, baby. Because that's when the house of cards go falling down. Patriots out there, if you're a true patriot, get your head out of your ass. Learn what the hell you're flying. Instead of being a patriot, why don't you educate yourself and then educate others, because you're curing them of a disease called ignorance. Let's stop playing the games. And this goes all the way over to where we have in our spiritual beliefs. Folks, if we can be this easily deceived in what we call the real world, what the freak do you think they've done to us over on the spiritual side? I haven't even gotten into that. We've got to do something, ladies and gentlemen. Pass this around, please. Post it. It probably will get banned on Facebook. I don't know. It may even get banned on YouTube. I don't know. I've done nothing more than state what legally is the law. And if we cannot or will not, as a society, uphold the very foundations of laws themselves, then, folks, we have no bitch in this. None. We've got to change this, folks. This is just the start. Thank you, Lost in Space. Appreciate it. But we have got to get this going, ladies and gentlemen. We've got to change our reality. You know why our reality has not worked? Because every day we allow to the heavens, to all the angels, the spirits, that I am an agent of war. I'm a proud American. I am a Christian, and I am a proud warrior because I only believe in war, death, pestilence. Why don't we stop playing games? Why don't we hoist something above our capitals, our doorsteps, that says peace? It proclaims peace. What happens when that psychologically begins to impact people's thinking? They no longer see the war banner, but they see the peace banner. You think that might change? Because you don't see this flag behind me in any courtroom, in any state capitol, in any church, in any sporting event. You don't see this flag, and it is the flag. No, consciously aware, we're trying to find it. But we're going to make this flag. There's people out there, ladies, gentlemen, if you have a knack for sewing, we'll start selling them here. We have greetings, Long Beach. How you doing? But folks, we've got to change this. This blew me away. I told my wife, Lynn, I said, you know what? I said, I'm an ignorant ass. I said, here, all my life, I thought I was doing the patriotic thing. And I never realized that I was living in a nation that is in a perpetual state of war. They don't teach us that. You don't see no politician or president up there talking about, we're going to end this constant state of war. We're going to go back to our civil flag. And he makes a presidential commandment, and Congress would go with it as well. Tear down the stars and stripes and put up the civil flag of peace. Okay. Thank you for listening. Yeah, I got riled up, but you know what? At some point, we have to come to wake up from this nightmare. Start taking back what they have stolen from us, because they're about to steal it and never give it back. It breaks my spirit to see a nation. No wonder we're divided against ourselves. You know, the proverb rings true: a house divided against itself cannot stand, neither can a nation. And all the riots, all the protests are all under the war banner. And they're laughing at us, mocking at us. Now, if I tell you what, if I saw a group carrying this flag in the front of their group, I would join this. I donate. I do whatever I could to promote something like this, because this is the only thing, ladies and gentlemen, that will visually impact every American. This. Imagine what it'll start doing to our youth, those that are at the age of 2, 3, 4, 5. They go into their school. Their school is no longer a military installation. Their school is actually a civil public school. But everywhere you see the stars and stripes flying over a school, that is saying that is a military institution. I bet a lot of these liberal teachers have no idea what they're really doing. If you're a teacher, start telling the other teachers. This is not hyperbole. This is not some kind of crazy conspiracy. This is the law. This is reality. And stop saying the Pledge of Allegiance to that despicable war flag. Do you realize what you're doing? It says, I pledge allegiance, what? To the flag of the United States of America. It's supposed to be this flag. You're taking a pledge of allegiance for peace. not war. Okay, I've had enough. So much love to all of you people. See you tomorrow with Miss Trina. We're going to get into phase 2 of this, the illusion of free will. You think you have free will? No, you have free choice, but you don't have free will. We'll get more into that. So let me know what you think of this, folks. Seriously, I'd like to know, because pass this around. Let your friends know. Let your family know. Do something that will positively impact this country. Until we get rid of that war banner, all we can expect is war. Woodstock lives on. Peace. All right, folks. Much love to you. And I'm set to everyone. And